Greetings, loyalists and heretics. Welcome to Iron and Ceramite, where we once again enter the warp without an astropath.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Iron and Ceramite podcast. As always, I'm John and I'm joined by Shane.
Hello.
Glenn.
Hi.
Dave.
Hiya.
And Tommy.
Hi guys.
How's everyone doing? Good?
Fantastic.
All good.
Awesome.
Good, thank you.
Cool. Right, let's get straight into it then. What's everyone been up to since we last recorded?
Who are we going with?
Who wants you, Tom? You answered first. There you go.
Cool. I haven't actually got much to go through, to be honest, this time. Obviously, like I'm sure the rest of you have, combat cards. Probably the biggest thing I've been doing lately, Warhammer related. Got up to the Shroud of Hatred on 4,000 points exactly. And I'm just going to leave it there now because I kept losing so many. I got up to nearly 4.5, and then I've got dropped right the way down to bang on 4,000. So I think I'm just going to leave it there to get the benefits of that now when it's over. Apart from that, I bought 2 boxes of assault terminators that I saw on Facebook Marketplace and 2 squads of scouts, metal scouts as well, one of the squads. And that was 50 quid, which is actually really good because the boxes of terminators alone are 35 each. And they're becoming quite scarce to get as well, the specific Blood Angel ones. So I was quite happy with that deal. I actually went around some guy's house to buy Cyberpunk. And yeah.
I thought that was going to take a different turn.
Yeah. No, I went around his house to buy this Cyberpunk thing. And he goes, "Oh, I saw your Facebook. You collect Warhammer." And I was like, "Fucking, you can't escape these guys. They're everywhere." And it's like I went in his house, and he literally had everything. He had these massive cabinets full of stuff. He had Titans, like literally Titans that were like that big.
Wow.
And he went, "I got all this stuff to sell." And he tried to flog me literally like about 80 boxes of stuff. And I was like, "Well, you know, I'm only a security guard. I can't really afford all this." So he gave me a good deal though in the end. And he gave me, I lost my dignity completely, mate, to be honest, because I went, "Take a picture of me next to your stuff," and he was like, "All right." But that's all I've been doing really. I keep getting out this book I've got, Valdor, Birth of the Imperium, but I just can't face reading at the moment. I don't know what. I get out and I sit there and I just go, put on the PlayStation. So yeah, I'm trying to get into that. It looks like a really good book. It's quite interesting. I like Valdor as a character, of what I've seen so far. So I'll try and get into that, and for the next pod maybe. What about you, John? You've been up to much apart from our little game we had?
No. Well, should we go? Let's cover that epic first, shall we? So obviously I went round Tom's just for a very quick trial game because one of my kids does a school club around the corner from Tom's house, so I had an hour to kill, and we made was it 300 points we went for in the end? Just because obviously we're never going to get a proper game in, it was just to try and go through some of the mechanics, and so my squad was the Lord of Contagion and 7 Plague Marines. What did you have, Tom?
I had 6 Vanguard veterans with, the ones I've been working on recently, and my a jump pack lieutenant as well to lead them. Yeah,
and it was just like on the small fold-out mat that you get.
What is it? The kill team one, isn't it?
Kill team, yeah, something like that. And we had you had the styrofoam rocks for a bit of cover, so pretty good.
My styrofoam rocks that cost me 20 quid because I thought they were resin.
I can't believe that. I nearly put my finger through it, thinking they were solid. I was like tapped on it. I was like, oh whoops. Bit of battle damage there.
Yeah, but no, it was good. I don't know if you want to go with what actually happened and why I had more than you left in the end.
Yeah. Well, obviously, we'll put the pictures up on Instagram as we normally do, just so you can see how well it went.
Actually, on that note, excuse me, none of my stuff's painted, but it's there.
Yeah, so actually I won with the extra points because mine were all painted.
Yeah.
And I think I may have won if I bothered to read the rules or actually know what the hell was going on. And essentially, Tom wiped. So we did round 1, both moved, a couple of shots, nothing happened. Round 2, they're all on top of each other in the middle of the board. I think I did some wounds to your lieutenant,
Yeah,
and one
with the
Marine.
guns. Yeah.
And then on Tom's turn, he killed all of my plague Marines in like two moves, which wouldn't have necessarily happened if I had realised. Because so basically, they went into combat, and I thought it was. Well, you can correct us if we're wrong. I thought it was when you go into combat, it's just the models that are touching that fight each other. But Tom said no, that whole squad can fight. So
within engagement range.
Yeah. So essentially,
what we didn't do, John, we didn't pile in. When you charge, there's a thing called pile in where you can. I think you've got a couple of inches. Is it Glenn or Shane? 2 or 3 inches to maneuver your troops into surrounding the other.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was 2 or 3. It's something around that.
Yeah, and we didn't do that, so we just left them all in one big splodge each. So it probably wouldn't have been right. But
so the two main errors that I had was the only attacks I made were on. So we had there were 3 of my units touching 3 of his, and then the squad behind. So I only attacked with those 3 units or 3 models. Sorry, which weren't very effective. I think I did like 1 damage.
Well, I think that was because you was only attacking with 1 attack for each weapon.
And that's my next point.
Attacks they had.
And that was the next error I made. I only attacked with, so it was 3 Marines did 1 attack when they obviously have 2 each, and then I missed out the other 4. So then when Tom had his go, he obliterated me in 2 goes, and then my Lord of Contagion got in there, and actually he did all right. Once because I picked up
3.5 of my guys, didn't they?
Yeah, I picked up 1 dice. So I was like, that'll do. And Tom was like, no, I think you've got 5 attacks, so you can roll 5. I was like, oh. So we managed to do a bit of damage. But then, but unfortunately, we had to call the game because I had to go. I bravely had to retreat and pick up my child. But obviously, so that horrific story. If you're new to the podcast, the whole point is that me, Tom, and Dave have never played properly before. I clearly do not read the rules or read the codex. But that was all right. It was good though. It is what it is. It was never a proper game because we didn't even have like proper squads or anything. But it was just a bit of fun, and I feel like I really let Nurgle down on that day.
But we've definitely like from playing the game instead of just talking about it, we've definitely the mistakes we made. Like I think, like Shane said, you won't make them mistakes again now because it's stuck in your head, isn't it? Properly now. Yeah. So next time will be better.
Yeah,
I think that I was going to say that's it, right? If you've learned something, then that's it. That's part of the experience. Is getting better as you go.
Yeah, well, and that's it, isn't it? Like the whole point, like we set this up so we can go through the journey. Like from the beginning of the first episode, we said like we want to learn how to play, we want to get good, and all that sort of stuff. And this is documenting us getting there essentially. It started horrifically, but it was good fun. There's more. Hopefully now things are getting better. We can try and do this a bit more regularly, and hopefully we'll all do it together. So. Every time I pick up a dice, I'll just look at Glenn until he nods his head that I'm doing the right thing.
Well, I was thinking what we could do. Like, I mean, I don't know if we're going to go to mine first or to Dave's or whatever. But I can obviously set up one small game in the front room like we played, and you could have obviously the big table for another game, so we could get 2 games going at once if there's 5 of us.
Yeah.
Or 4, or however many. But yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
How long is your table?
8 foot by 4. But the actual mat on it is 6 by 3, so it's full game worthy, I think.
Because even if we talked about doing sort of like even 500 points to get started with, you can easily fit 2 of those games on an 8-foot table.
Yeah, you could cut it in half.
Yeah, you're not necessarily going to have your fancy mat underneath it, but as long as we get enough random scattered terrain, you can get 2 games going at the same time, and then everyone gets to look at what everyone else is doing, and then the spare person can sort of assist with any kind of looking up of random bits and pieces of rules. I think it's probably better that we all squeeze into the one and go through it that way.
Yeah, definitely. If we can all fit in there, that would be a good idea. I can use one of my kill team maps, and Shane, you've got one as well, haven't you? So
yeah, I've got a couple of.
That'd be big enough.
The mats that. Well, I say mats. It's just a bit of paper.
But
it's good enough.
Yeah. But it was good though, wasn't it? I really enjoyed it, even though it was a quick hour of humiliation.
I think you hated it, didn't you? Until Lord of Contagion come up trumps, and then you got to take the models off the table. You're
Well,
like,
yeah. I mean, I know how powerful. I've seen firsthand how good he is now, and obviously, I was a bit miffed on how weak the Marines are. But that was because I wasn't playing them properly. So.
I was going to say, I don't think they're that weak.
No, which is one of those things. Obviously, I've watched all these battle reports. Like, everyone playing Death Guard, like you've said a few times, Death Guard are like just OP killing everyone. I was like, well, I can't do it. I've just been killed. What am I doing? But yeah, what else have I done? So I've finished everything Death Guard in my to-do list is done. I finished my Foul Blight spawn, and I've got nothing else to paint now until the Imperium magazine starts coming through the door.
I'm assuming no one's heard anything about that.
Nah.
Last time we spoke, no.
I've seen, like in America, people have been getting the first issue, and then they begin saying, "Oh, it's been discontinued now." In America, because I think again they weren't expecting it to do so well, and probably COVID has something to do with it. So there's a lot of angry people I've seen on like Twitter and that, where they were all geared up to do what we're going to do, and now they're not even getting we're delayed, but they're cancelled altogether. So maybe we'll get it by Christmas.
Maybe, yeah.
But I counted up my points in the app, and I think roughly I've got 2,240 points worth of Death Guard. Obviously, like not all of it's playable because of the loadouts of some of the Marines, but yeah, that's what I've got. So yeah, I might treat myself to a model over the next couple of weeks to tide me over. So I've still got something to do.
Did you come up with which one you're going for? I know Dave was saying he thinks you should get Mortarion next, and he was like, "Oh, I'm not sure if I can."
I'm not going to do Mortarion next. I think I'll do that. There's more models that I want before. Well, not that I want. There's more models to do before I get to him. I want to get some more Terminators. I want to get about 200 more Poxwalkers. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's just one of the things. Maybe we'll do a trip out to Games Workshop and I'll just pick something up.
Yeah, that could be a good thing.
Yeah, but like my real pile of shame is these books now, because obviously, so I'm reading Legion at the minute, which is lovely. It's such a good book, a good palate cleanser after Descent of Angels. So I'm burning through that. But yeah, obviously I've started again, so I've got 10 unread books here that I'm dying to get through, and then me and Shane can do our Omnis on those, and which I'm really enjoying. But I think Omnis, like I said to you, Shane, is going to be another 4-parter because it's actually exactly the same amount of pages as Descent of Angels, but so much more going on.
I think there's so much that happens in Legion that it's going to take ages to explain. So it's just, it may be the same length. It's just there's so many more characters. It's going to take that time for us to dive into it. Yeah,
and it's not even just the characters. It's like a new military branch, a new ranks to go through. I was like typing away my notes, and I was like, now I've got to go back and explain what this is. So all of that makes sense. But yeah, it's good fun. I'm really enjoying that one.
You could probably use a whole part just to talk about Grammaticus, couldn't you, and what he is and all that. And all that.
Yeah. It's going to be good. Maybe there's going to be tangents aplenty in this one, I think. So what have you been up to, Shane?
Well, I think I was going to say this month, this last season of combat cards is probably the fastest I've managed to get to Holy Terror, and I believe that's because of the friendly competition that Glenn has inspired. And I just kept logging in every day and seeing him ahead, and then trying to get there. And I think it's the quickest I've ever got there. But I think I've now reached my ceiling, and he's streaked ahead by a couple of 100 points. So there was a lot of combat cards, so I'm glad. Yeah, it was good fun though getting there. I finished off my Eradicators, which was good. I'm very pleased to get there, and put up some of the pics on Instagram of the full 1,000 points of Space Wolves now. So that's good, done, ready to go for when we can meet up. And now I've moved on to the right arm of Bjorn, So that's what I'm painting at the moment.
Nice.
Which is it's going okay, but I'm taking in one piece at a time.
How are you painting him? Are you doing your traditional colours, or are you doing the
So,
contrast, back to the contrast?
No, for him I've gone traditional. So although I did like Ragnar and Jarl and Ulrich in contrast, I've gone for Bjorn in the classic, because I did that Space Wolves like champion, like Wolfguard. I did him in classic, and it worked out really well. And so I kind of thought, you know what, I'll do maybe the more classic Marines, the firstborn in classic colours, and then anything new in contrast. Although, you know, it's going to mix up in the army as I go, but it'll be fine. But at the moment, it's coming out okay. But that's what I've been doing.
That must be so frustrating with the combat cards. Every time I look at that and I say, oh, Shane's gone up a few hundred points, Glenn's like still 20 points in front somehow.
Yeah.
Like he's never in second place, but it's always so ridiculously close. You must just look at that every time and go, what's going on?
Right, see, I'm reaching my ceiling now, which is, so I think I'm at now a couple of 100 points behind, and it's tough to catch up. So I'm like, but I have got one honor rank now. So I've got my honor rank, so I'm taking that as a win, because I've managed to get that. But yeah, as I said, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to catch up. If I get the extra points as I go, that's fine. But the race is now it's run its course for me until I can get some more upgrades. But I did notice that we're now Orc affiliated, I believe. So we get points for Orc cards. Is that right, Glenn?
Yeah, because the 10 days was up, so I thought, we'll change it. And since there was an Orc campaign on, I thought some of the newer guys especially mightn't have that many Orc cards.
Yeah.
So I thought, I'll tell you what, we'll just stick it on there, just to have a little change. If anybody wants anything in particular, in about 7 days, let me know and I can change it again.
Oh, okay.
If there's any decks you're working towards.
I need to start playing it again.
My weakest decks are always my Tyranids. They're the ones that I struggle with. But
I never think they're sitting on somewhere like maybe 300, 400, something like that, compared to like 2,500 for the stronger ones.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask, actually, you two. Obviously, you've got 6 decks, isn't it? And you can only use the top 4, or is it 8 decks?
Eight decks.
8 decks. Top 4 give you the points. And
so, is there any point in doing anything with the others, or just not at all, really?
Yes.
Yeah. So
is there a reason, or?
I think myself and Glenn would. Well, go ahead, Glenn. Go ahead.
Yeah. So you play your top 4, or you play your top 5 or 6. I use 6 generally. Once you got to the 6th one, play with that. If you win, it'll go up into the top 4. If you lose, you won't lose any points.
I see.
So that's where you said earlier about you losing points.
Yeah.
It's because you're only playing your top 4. Whereas if you're playing, anything below those 4, you can win or lose and it doesn't matter. But if you win and they're close enough, you get points.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, cool. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
John just looking like his mind's been blown.
I've been playing with like the same 3 that I'm good at, and I'll win 3 in a row, and I'll rack up points, and I'll just lose 2 and drop right back down to where I started.
Yeah.
So I haven't played it. I think I played it maybe 2 or 3 days after the last episode, and then I just I was doing so well, lost all these points, and I was like, you know what? Fucking game.
I like how you're getting excuses in now. I've overtaken you. I don't even play it anymore.
I'm still on sector 3 of Fenris because I can't get bloody past it.
So normally with me is I'll start with 6 and I can keep that going pretty well until you get higher and higher up, and then my weakest deck falls away, and then I'll just go to playing the 5.
Yeah.
And then as I get closer to Terra, I'll just go, right, I'm all out for Terra now, and it's just the top 4.
Yeah, no, I stick with at least the 5. It's got to be on.
Cool. I'm going to start trying to do that then. My thing is every how long does it last for? Is it each month, isn't it?
It's pretty much a month. Yeah.
A month.
4 weeks is
4 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm going to just if I can just get up an extra 1,000. So I got 3,000 last time, 4,000 this time. Hopefully, I'll just keep going up like that until I'm somewhere near you guys. I don't think I ever will be, because you've obviously upgraded most things, haven't you, now? So to a high level.
Well, we're probably a good year further into the game than you
Yeah.
are. So,
Yeah.
you know, unless you're going to spend stupid money, you're going to be behind.
So I did promise myself I wasn't going to spend anything on it, but I chucked in 19.99 to get them plasma things.
You got the plasma. You traded in the plasma, get some coins, upgrade.
Literally, that was exactly it. What I did straight away for the coins. I just spent a lot on coins, and took it from there to upgrade. But that's it. I only spent the 20 quid after that. I thought, like, what am I doing, sort of thing. But
they've got you now. They'll start teasing you with these rare cards and like little bosses, and you'll be like, oh, actually, I'm only a couple of hundred coins away.
Hey, I do it every now and again. Just be like, oh, I only need the small plasma, and then I can get that pack. Yeah, go on. It's only $4.99. What's $4.99?
So every time Shane gets within overtaking distance, you quickly throw a $5 on it. Shoot up. Have you done anything other than play combat cards, Glenn?
I've been reading an old book that I've read many, many times.
not Gauntlet's Ghosts again.
No, not actually. It's not even a
Oh.
40k book. It's the Malice Darkblade series,
Ah,
which is very good, very amusing. I've read it so many times, but it's just to try and get doing something again. It's like, yeah, I'll read that. I know that's good. I'll enjoy reading that. So hopefully I'll then finish that and get into something else. Might even read the book you gave me, Tom, at some point.
oh, what? You got to halfway through the second book in that, didn't you? The Beast Arises, first omnibus thing.
You know what? I can't even remember if I finished the second, but I think I might have finished the second book.
Because you liked the first one, you didn't really. The second one was dragging, wasn't it, for you?
Yeah, it didn't really grab me. And it was the fact that you're only one book into a series and they've gone, and here's some more new characters and here's some more new stuff and all this. And I was like, oh, Jesus, I've just got the grips with all of the Imperial Fists from the first book. And yeah, it's a bit, it's not the heresy. It's, not on that level, but it's not too bad.
Still can't believe that's the thing, isn't it? There's so many books to read now. It's just like so many series. It's like, it does drag a bit just thinking about it. I look at my bookshelf and I just can't decide. So I end up just sitting down and doing nothing at all. But
it's the problem, too much choice. You end up choosing nothing.
Yeah. And sometimes when I get like 20, 30 pages into something, I will literally just put it down and go, no, I want something else. But I think this about Valdor, I'm definitely going to set my mind to it and get through that shortly.
Is that the Custodes book?
Yeah, this one, yeah.
It is. Oh, yeah.
I do want to read the Valdor stuff. I like the idea of Valdor as a character. I think he's quite cool.
Definitely, yeah. He looks the business. Some of the artwork on him looks amazing.
That just leaves Dave. What have you been doing?
So I've dramatically overtaken John in combat cards. I've actually been playing it, but I'm pretty sure he has been playing it, just
I haven't.
not very well.
I haven't.
Promise,
I haven't.
I finally started painting again. Obviously, started settling a bit in the new house. I did some house painting, and then when I got that all out of the way, the missus let me actually do some Warhammer painting.
Is your house black, white, and red all over?
Yeah. A load of my spare Templar transfers everywhere. Yeah. And so I've decided that I'm going to finish off my firstborn army for continuing with the Primaris. My rationale behind that is obviously that is a lot further done than my Primaris, so it'll be easier to get on the table when we do in the next couple of months. So hopefully get that sorted. So everything I've got for firstborn is built and at least primed. So obviously I mentioned what I did in the last pod. I've built and started painting my drop pod as well. I made the mistake of completely building it before I painted it. So it has been difficult, to say the least.
I don't even think it's a mistake anymore with all of us. We keep saying that about everything. Literally just can't help ourselves, can we?
It's clear that we have no
Building
idea
it.
what we're doing. So I've got them done, and then I've got all weekend off, and the missus is working. So I'm hoping to get my Devastated Squad and Helbrecht and Grimaldus almost done. So hopefully by the end of this weekend, I will have a complete firstborn what I want, which is about 2,000 points.
Nice.
So it should be pretty good for when we can actually meet up. Haven't done much reading. I was hoping to do some reading this week because I was meant to be on jury service, but because of COVID, that's all been sort of delayed. So I picked out the books I was going to read, which are the Crusade for Armageddon ones that Tom lent me, but I haven't even picked them up because I've had to go to work instead. So, and that's about it.
Bloody life gets in the way, doesn't it? Of our
Yeah,
hobby.
that's horrible.
It's not fair.
Right, so I think that's it then, is it, for the roundup?
Yeah, I think so. Unless anyone's got anything last minute they can think of.
No.
No.
I'm done.
No, good.
So for this next segment, we're going to be talking about models that we would like to own or like to paint. So for the first part of this, we've said any Forge World or Games Workshop model, past or present, what would it be and why? So maybe something from your current faction that you'd like for your army, or just something that you've seen that you would really like to own. So who would like to go first with that?
Why don't you take it from here, John?
Oh, me? Okay, cool. So, so I've got sort of two answers. So I had a look outside of 40k, and I was looking at like the Lord of the Rings ones because they're the ones I remember when the Blue Water Shop was still around, and they had those in the window, and they were the ones that sort of took my interest a long time ago. So I was just having a look at all the ones, and obviously I think the obvious answer is you get the Fellowship or whatever. But I think out of everything, if I could get to a level of skill, I'd really like to get the Balrog and paint that because I think he looks sick. Like you could, obviously he's a black mostly, but he's got like his veins or the lava flowing through him. I just think he's a pretty cool looking model, and obviously it's like one of the better creatures from the films as well. So I really like that. I think if I could ever get good enough, I would just like maybe just for a what's it called, like for the mantelpiece, a nice a lovely Balrog for the front room, just to cheer the missus up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was just having a look on like Forge World because I really like the Horus Heresy Primarch models. So eventually I just get the complete set because they look really good. And they're a cool one. The only one that I don't know if it exists, but wasn't on the website, and I couldn't find a proper result. There isn't one for Jagatai Khan. They've got all the others, but I couldn't find that one. So I don't know if it hasn't been made yet. I don't know how old the other Primarch models are.
Have they even got all of them? I thought they were still missing a couple.
As far as I went through, there was definitely 17 of them. He's the only one that's not there, and obviously the redacted Primarchs. There's no pirate one.
Few coming out.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my answers. What about you, Tom?
Well, it's a little bit long-winded. So the one that I want to get for myself for my own army, obviously I paint Blood Angels or a Success Chapter or whatever you want to call it. So the Sanguinar is the model that I want to get hold of, the original Sanguinar, which is also called the Exemplar of the Host. I just go for a very short bit of lore about what the character supposedly is. No one properly knows what he is. So there's two theories on what actually created him or what he is. And he's possibly the good side of Sanguinius' soul. So when Sanguinius got killed by Horus, it's been theorized that his soul split in two, one half becoming the Black Rage for obviously all the Blood Angels there forward. That's like Sanguinius' doubt. And the other half, the good side of his soul, became the Sanguinor in the warp. And obviously this golden figure only turns up when the Blood Angels are in their most dire need. And then the other possibility is that he's Ascalon, who was the first Sanguinary Guard captain back in the Horus Heresy days, and the Emperor blessed him to go forward and become the Sanguinor. So that's the two different theories on him. Other than that, there's not too much known about the character in lore-wise anyway. But yeah, he looks really cool. I don't know if any of you guys have actually seen. I'm assuming Glenn and Shane know who I'm talking about.
I know who you're talking about lore-wise. I was going to say I don't think I've seen the model though. Is he old lead? Is he an old lead model?
Yeah, an old lead or metal or whatever it is. He's sort of extending his arms out with a chalice and a sword. Yeah. He's obviously got the big wings behind him, jump pack, complete golden armor as you'd expect. Yeah, it's a pretty cool model actually. If you look him up after this, it would be really fun to paint, because I think I like painting my gold models. That's probably my best thing that I can do at the moment, painting metallic gold. So I'd like to get my hands on him, but I think I did look it up, and there was one you can get him for 20 quid, but usually they're like painted badly, and I just don't trust that. Getting a brand new one, there was ones on there 40 quid upwards, and I'm just like, I probably will get it eventually. But yeah, that's the one I want to get next. I'll just quickly go through what his points are on that as an in-game player. So he's a 150 point model, power of 9, movement's obviously 12 inches because he's got a jump pack, but his weapon skill and ballistic skill is both 2+, which is obviously pretty good. Strength and toughness is 4, wounds 5, and he gets 5 attacks as well. So he's pretty cool. Obviously leadership 9, and his saves are 2+ as well. He's got the Incarmine broadsword, which is a strength of +2, AP -4, and damage of 2 as well. But if you roll a 6, then it inflicts a mortal wound straight away that can't be defended against. He's got tons of. I was looking for all these special abilities. I know it sounds. Glenn took the piss last time I said special abilities, but he's got the Angelic Visage, which is every time he's attacked by an opponent with a melee weapon, you take -1 from their hit rolls. So every single time on a melee. He's got the Angels of Death, obviously thing as well, which all the Space Marines have. Then he's got the Avenging Angel, Death from Above, Iron Halo as well, just in case you need it. Miraculous Savior, and he's just got loads of stuff. I mean, I won't go through all of that, but they all give him certain benefits. So yeah, that's the one that I would most like to get. My other two honourable mentions, obviously, just to complete the set of the older models, would be Lamates and Astaroth, obviously for the Blood Angels as well, because I've already got I've got Dante, I've got Mephiston, and I have Corbulo. So they're the only other 3 main models that I'm missing, I would say, other than Sanguinius, obviously, but that's a Forge World 30k model anyway. And other than that, the only other one that's not in like the Blood Angels would be Abaddon. I just think that's a really cool model. The look of it, that beastly Terminator armor with the Talon, and so that's just on it. I don't know much about his points and all that. I haven't looked into it, but just as a look and as aesthetic, that's probably the one I'd like to go for. And he's a bad guy as well. I haven't actually painted what bad guy. I know they're all bad in Warhammer, but specifically him, he's like king of the bad guys sort of thing. So it'd be nice to paint something that's not seen as a good guy.
Horus Talon as well. The old hand, like the Horus.
That looks
Talon.
awesome.
Yeah,
that is just an awesome weapon, fearsome weapon. So that's the model 2 models I would pick out, the ones that are in existence.
Dave, would you like to go next?
Yeah, I'll go next. So we're only doing the first ones though, aren't
Just
we?
the ones that exist.
Yeah.
Okay, so the models that I like that do exist, obviously I've got all the Black Templar ones. So the only one that's sort of remaining is Sigismund, the Forge World model, which I think would be quite cool just as a display piece. I wouldn't play it, obviously. He's been dead for 10,000 Terran years, but I think it'd be a really cool model to do and have a display piece along with all sort of the Firstborn, and especially if I do go down the route of getting a few more things, like especially the older models, so like Cataphractii armor and stuff like that, the Terminator armor and sort of the old relics and things that would have been with the chapter for a long time. I think he could be the centre of a cool display piece for the Black Templars. But the model that sort of stands out for me that I would love to paint, but it is heresy, and John, you're going to love this, is the Great Unclean One.
Oh yeah.
I think is such a good model, and I think that you can just make it gory and gross, and I think it'd be a lot of fun to paint. It's got a lot of nooks and crannies to get all the guns in, and I
Is
think
that
it
the
just
big
looks
guy?
really cool as well.
Is that the big fat guy with the sword?
That's
Yeah.
the one.
one?
He's got like
Yeah,
his
big
gut
sword.
split.
Yeah.
That'd be great though. What a contrast as well, where your Templars are so neat and pristine, and then you can just go fucking mental.
Yeah,
That'd be
exactly.
good.
And I think that's sort of the appeal as well, is that with Marines and the sort of loyalist factions, it is quite neat and tidy majority of the time, whereas especially Nurgle, I do envy that, just being able to splodge things everywhere and make it gory and gross and grimdark. So I think that'd be. I think I definitely would need to improve my painting before I tackle something like that. But I think you could use a lot of the technical paints to good effect and make a really cool. Every one that I've seen is just amazing. But if you're going to invest that amount of money into a model, you need to be a pretty good painter anyway. So that would
What
be
are they off the top of your head, mate? Money wise,
I think it's about 100. It's over £100.
Really?
150.
Is he?
But the Forge World one,
Bloody hell.
yeah.
Jesus.
So it is expensive, but I think it just looks so good.
Yeah, to be fair, the Forge World one is about the size of a small football, so it's not that expensive for the size of it.
I didn't know it was that big. Maybe not then.
It's
Too late to
quite
change my mind.
it's quite hench. I say small football, but yeah.
I
That's
think
a lot of real
that's the model
estate
that
as well.
stands out for me.
Yeah.
Personally, from all the ones that I've seen, especially the ones that like flicking through Instagram, they pop up occasionally and they just look amazing.
Yeah.
So
They're
my pick.
That's a good pick.
and like you said as well, I think you can make them look amazing, even if you're only an average painter. Like what I say, most of us are. If you made a couple of little mistakes, like John always says with Death Guard, it can be made to look like it's supposed to be like that anyway. So yeah.
When in doubt, just add vomit.
There you go. You heard it from the man himself.
Yeah, you're right. That Forge World model is amazing. So I'd not seen the Forge World one. I'd only seen the Games Workshop one.
How different are they? I don't know if I've seen the Forge World one. Is it still the same pose and everything, just bigger maybe?
It's a bit different.
I have to look that up after this, I think.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, we'll put a picture in the companion post on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will, sure. I'll do it.
You want me to send it to you though, wouldn't you?
No,
Get that done, John. Get that done.
You won't know what it is.
no, I can do that. I can get it off the bloody website, but I can't come around your house and take your photos from you, can I? It takes me a bloody. How many times do I have to ask?
2 or 3 times.
Yeah. Okay. What about you, Glenn? Not that you probably own them all, didn't you?
No, they bring up new models all the time.
Okay.
The one model that has come out recently that's made me go, oh, sweet Jesus, I want that, is Bellicor. That is a phenomenal looking model, especially when you compare it to the old little ditty first Demon Prince. He was about that big. It was an okay looking model, but the new one is unbelievable. And I do have a small demon army that I could add into. So, it's technically a faction I have, but it's not my main faction. That's it for the newer models, because there's a lot of beautiful stuff in Forge World and there's a lot of other really nice models, but that one just sort of made me go, it's up there with one of the few models that me as a non-painter has seen and gone, yeah, I want to get that just as a project, if nothing else. The only other things that have been like that for me is the Vermin Lord, which I've done and painted, and is one of my 2 Instagram posts. And the other ones is the Dark Angels, Deathwing Knights. For some reason, I really like them. I think they're really nice looking models. Just the Terminator armor, the robes, the maces and stuff like that. They just look like proper hench. And the one last little model that is is a real nostalgia thing. I've thought about this model a lot over the years. It's nothing special. It's, nothing spectacular. It is, and Tom may have actually bought it very, very recently, is the old metal Scout with the rocket launcher kneeling down. There's just something about that model that I have loved for years and years, and it's nothing. It is literally just a little rank and file guy with a missile launcher, but I can see that model in my head so much easier than so many other models from years and years and years ago. I just don't know why, but I just love that model.
Sounds like it's top of your wank bank, that one.
It's up there. It's probably up there.
Red Rocket.
Just for the record, I haven't actually got that one, unfortunately, with the
I see. But whenever you said you got some Scouts that were metal, and my eyes just sort of went, ooh.
There's
has he got the missile launcher?
No, I got one of the plastic ones with the missile launcher of the 5 plastics, but not that one, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It sounds like a really cool model as well.
It looks very, very similar to the pose of the plastic one. You can build a plastic one just like that. I think probably because the metal one was in existence before, and people just went, "Yeah, we'll make a plastic one of that instead." Whenever they made the new box of Scouts. But yeah, even trying to find a picture of it online is really difficult now, which really irritating because I was going to look it up and sort of send it over thinking, this is what I like, this is what I like. But yeah, I could find like one picture and it was blurry as hell. So
oh, damn it.
I can see it nice and clearly in here though, so it's fine. So who's left? Shane?
Yeah. I'm going to go back to the world that was, as you can probably guess from my background picture. So that is the orc rock clobber from Warhammer Fantasy Battles. That's where that one comes from. Before it was the world that was when you had orcs. So when I first, I suppose when Warhammer first caught my eye, it was because someone else I knew, like his older brother, was painting models, and he was painting orc and goblins from Warhammer Fantasy Battles. It's not the orc. I mean, I would love to have the rock clobber, but the ones I really like are the Night Goblin Fanatics, which are these tiny little goblins in like hooded robes, but they're swinging around these massive balls, like these massive iron balls, and they're just all over the place. And there's little units when you played the game. They were amazing. You just kind of set them off and you just rolled dice to see where they moved, and they could charge through your units and kill them, and they could charge through enemy units and kill them. But they just basically swung these massive balls around and then just were led by wherever they went. And they're just very, very cool, very goblin and orc based units, just chaos incarnate. So I'd love to have a little set of Night Goblin Fanatics. So I wouldn't be able to use them, but they're just very, very cool.
I'm just looking at the box art of them. They're mental.
Yeah, they are amazing. They're really, really, really nice little models. And the thing with that Warhammer Fantasy Battles is the Goblins and Orcs were really, they're not the same way as like the Orc and Gretchen of Warhammer 40k or the Grots as they're now called. Goblins used to, in Fantasy Battle anyway, they had a bit about them, and there was also another unit which was the Goblin Doom Diver, which was like it was a catapult that just fired goblins with like wings, and they just they just go across the battlefield and you smash goblins into other units, and it was, I don't know, there's just a lot of joy and fun about Goblin and Orc units in Warhammer Fantasy Battles that I, as I said, when I was a youngster, used to really like the idea of. And as I said, we wouldn't be even able to use them now, but I just like them to have, like, maybe a shelf somewhere, painted up, looking like fun little models that people can look at and go, "Oh, they're quite cool."
I have seen them on Instagram, actually. One of the few models I know we've been talking about here. They are really cool. They've got them little cheeky faces as well, haven't they?
Yeah,
like really characterful faces with the big teeth grinning and all that.
Yeah, it's just fun. It's just a lot of fun, and it was weird when we decided to do this this podcast. I went looking for all the old stuff, and John, I sent you those links where you can find all the old digitized catalogs from the old Games Workshop. And as I said, I've got some pictures that open in front. I'll send the links through so that they'll be on the companion images. But as I said, it's just these joyous little green monsters swinging, you know, all of this stuff around, causing all sorts of problems. The goblins, just very, very fun. Probably easy to paint as well, which helps. But yeah, no, I like the idea of the fun stuff. That's it. And then in terms of like more current models, I've always liked the Lord of Change from Tzeentch, the Chaos Demon. I've always, as I said, probably well beyond the scope of what I can paint. I just like the. I think it goes back to the fantasy Warhammer Fantasy battles where I liked all the monsters. So I like the Weavens, the dragons, the manticores. I like the Lord of Change because it kind of reminds me of that. So it's quite close to that kind of that aesthetic. So it'd be quite nice to have that. And then in terms of factions I actually play, the Shard of the Void Dragon for Necrons. Again, a little bit intimidating. Also a very powerful unit, but I just like it's almost like it's digitized. I like the way that the unit's built up and how it kind of like you can see it's almost constructing itself from energy. I think it's just a very cool model.
It's not like anything else, really, is it? It's like it's quite the way that it's like you say the way it's built is a very unique looking model.
Yeah,
that's what I was going to ask you, Shane. How many shards of the Satan, I think you pronounce it, how many shards of them are there now as models? Because there's different ones, isn't there?
There's the Void Dragon, there's the Nightbringer, there's
Favor.
Yeah. But I was going to say, is it the three? I think it's the three. Is there three? I don't think there's any more than that.
There's only the three named, and then there's the shards of it. I know what is it? Something or other. The one that's in the big.
Oh, on the what's it called? What's his name? The something king.
Oh no, the Silent King. No, I'm talking about the. What the hell do you call it? The big.
It's like the monolith.
That's split out.
Yeah.
There's a. Is it empowered? It's in something or other. It's another shard, but it's not a specific named shard.
No, there's because there are those three. So the three that are there might be more coming, but the three that are available as independent shards. Yeah, Nightbringer, Void Dragon, and then the other one, which I've got in combat cards, but I can't remember the Deceiver. That's it. I never remember his name. They are like tabletop wise. They're really powerful because they can only take so many wounds per phase. So, or at least the Void Dragon, you can only take 4 wounds off him per phase. So I can't remember how many wounds he's got, but if you take 8 wounds off him in the shooting phase, nope, it's only 4.
Blimey.
So it's like you have to whittle them down. They're big units.
I think
Gazgol's
pretty much a similar rule.
Gazgol's got exactly the same.
Yeah,
exactly the same rule. You can only take so many off of him per phase.
Really tough to shift then.
Yeah.
So you're pretty much just setting up for saying, right, well, he's going to be on the table for most of the game anyway. I've just got to deal with it, sort of thing.
It's so one of the old sayings, which is not the same anymore. It's the distraction carnifex. I don't know, Glenn, if you've heard that term before.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Back in the day, the Tyrannid carnifex was you'd almost put it in your army as a Tyrannid player because everyone would focus on it. They'd be like, right, I've got to get rid of that first because otherwise it's going to cause me too much damage. And as a Tyrannid player, you'd say, well, I'm going to put that in there and you're going to bring all of your troops over there to deal with that. And then everything else is just going to come around here and smash it. So it's the same sort of thing. It's almost such a big, imposing, scary unit that you're willing your opponent to focus on it. Whereas actually, you're probably better off just leaving it alone and staying away from it. but you can't because it's so big and imposing.
Interesting.
That's what we used to refer to as the shiny sheep, mate.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is any big scary thing you can just plonk down the table, regardless whether it actually does that much damage or not.
Yeah.
If it looks intimidating or is a big model, a lot of people go, have to deal with that. Yeah.
Play the objectives.
Oh yeah, that's what it comes down to. Play the mission. Play the mission, not the army.
Yeah.
John can't even count all his attacks, let alone fucking play the objectives.
Leave me alone. So for the next part, we thought what we would have a look at is any model that we wish did exist or we would like to exist to paint, ones that obviously aren't in circulation, of characters from books, or just ones that you would like to be able to get your hands on, whether playable or just for a centerpiece. So we've all had a little think. Who would like to go first for this one? Tom, would you like to go first?
Yeah, cool. The ones that I couldn't find anyway, I've obviously seen loads of kit bashes. There's a character called Nasir Amit, who was the founder of the Flesh Tearers after the Horus Heresy, because of his nickname was originally the Flesh Tearer when he was in the 5th Company of Blood Angels, because he was so bloodthirsty and zealous, and sometimes he would be rebuked by Sanguinius because his company would literally go into battle, the enemies would flee, and he'd just completely ignore his commands and go, well, I'm going after them, I don't care, I'm going to kill every single one of them. And he'd obviously get told off by his father. Yeah, I mean, that because I first came across seeing that character I've talked about it before, I think, but there's this novella called The Flesh of Cretaceous, and it's only 100 and odd pages, but it's really good. It's it's just after the Horus Heresy, and he's taken his new-ish company of the Flesh Tearers, who are all sort of simmering on the edge of the Black Rage, literally all of them, every single one of them. And Amit is just, when you start reading this book, he's literally right there, just about to fall, basically, but he's still willpower, holding it together to sort of try and find them a new home. And that's when they come across this world called Cretaceous, which has got all of these. I won't go into it too much, just in case anyone wants to read it, but it's got all of these, I suppose you could call them savages, but sort of like almost like Neanderthal type people, but they're warriors. They're pure bloodlust warriors. They're not scared of anything. And when they see these people on this world, they sort of think, well, this is right for us. That we could, if we could take them into the fold, so to speak, they'd be a good recruiting ground to get these people as our next Marines. So that's what that book's around, and that's where I first saw the character. But he's a really cool character because he's a psychopath, but at the same time able to lead a massive company of Marines. So he's obviously quite a special character. So and also he's got double power fists double power fists with like chainswords on the bottom. So I suppose they're chain fists, aren't they? They're called, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, and he's in Terminator armor, so he's like a beast. So yeah, that's mine. Other than that, Commander Dante as well. I want him to become a Primaris model because that little dinky one is just way too small when you got Primaris out there now. Yeah, that's me done. I think that's all the ones I'd like.
He sounds really
Thanks,
cool.
guys.
Good.
That's
That's good.
amazing.
Yeah. What about you, Shane?
So I think we brought him up in another pod earlier, but the one I'd go for is, so there's a Space Wolf Terminator called Ranolf, who is like he's like one of the biggest Marines, right? And I vaguely remember back in my young days, there was a White Dwarf article where they converted a standard Terminator into Ranolf. And I've got a picture. I'll share it so you can put it accompanying the pod. But he is like, if you look him up, if you Google Ranolf, there are a couple of YouTube videos about him as well. It's like Marines that are bigger than your standard Marine. He's not the fat beer swilling Space Wolf. He's just a big Space Wolf. He's a bit like the chapter master of the I was going to say the Carcharodons. So he's just a massive Space Wolf basically, but you can't get him as a unit. You can't get him as a like a model, but has featured in White Dwarf, and it was featured as a conversion that they did from a original Space Wolf Terminator to a full size model. And yeah, I just think it's very cool to have like those slightly different proportioned like Terminator or any Marine unit that's a bit bigger, and like one that you built yourself. But it's not that far from reality that they couldn't put it into production. So I would quite like to have a Ranolf in my Wolf Guard. And it's one of those old school units as well, where they still had the banner poles coming out the backpacks, so you could add one of those to it as well. So that's who I'd like. I'd like Ranolf.
So what era was Ranolf? Is he just 40k? I'm assuming, or
yeah, he is 40k. Yeah, he's a 40k Wolf Guard Terminator. He's just massive. But yeah, a very nice little model, like standard loadout, Power Fist, Storm Bolter, but kit bashed by GW.
Well, now you've dipped your toe into kit bashing, Shane.
I know. I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh god, now I'm gonna start ordering pallets of green stuff, and I'm like, no, I don't want to go that far.
The addiction hasn't set in just yet.
Not quite, but as I said, I've got my Blade Guard veterans from the what's it called, the Indomitus box, and there's only one way to make them wolfy, and that's kit bashing them. So that's going to be that will be a project that comes along later.
Cool.
Look forward to seeing that. Oh,
just now you've mentioned the giant space wolf. The book that Tom was talking about, the Flesh of Cretaceous. Is there a giant space marine in that as well?
I think, you know what? In most books I've read, there's always one that's explained as being massive.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was a Blood Angels book or a Flesh Terrors book or something like that, but I'm pretty sure there's another like massive guy who's bigger than the Terminator when he's just in his power armor. And I can't remember if it's that book that you were talking about earlier, or it was just bothered me. And don't bother looking it up. I just sort of like if you knew it off the top of your head.
I'm just seeing if they've got the they haven't got the list of characters in the front of this book, but no, I can't remember. Obviously, I know that Amit himself was huge, but it wouldn't have been him.
It's interesting. I think there's a few YouTube videos knocking around about giant space marines generally, bigger than usual, and like I think it is the chapter master of the Kakarodons, the space sharks or whatever they're called, where he, like, whereas other giant space marines kind of adapt Terminator armor to be like power armor, he's adapted Dreadnought armor to be like his power armor because he's that big, and it's like he's got to be stupidly huge to be.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I know there's what book was it? The Grey Knights Omnibus. I don't know if anyone's read that. I only read the first 2 of the 3 books, and there's one space marine I remember called Tancred, who's in that, who's like another giant space marine. I think they said he was just over 8 foot tall. So I think what is the regular space marine is around about 7 foot, and it's just over 7 foot supposedly. I know some people say it's this, it's that, but I think around about 7 foot. But he's just over 8, so he was massive. But yeah, like I said, almost every book there's someone that's described as being he was bigger than the usual space marine. There, like in the Space Wolves, you've got what was his name? The loud drunken one.
Yeah, I can't remember.
What he brings with an R. Oh shit, what's his name? Is it? I can't remember his name.
The one you're talking about. I can't.
He stretches his armor because he's so fat. That says have his armor.
It's around the gut though. He's like normal everywhere else. He's just got a massive gut.
Yeah, but he's massive as well. But I'll have to look up this one you're talking about. You say Ranolf?
Ranolf. Yeah, Ranolf. Ranulf.
Awesome. So who are we on to next then? Dave?
Yeah, go on, I'll go next. So obviously with the Orky theme, I've gone off on a bit of a tangent. And I'm not sure, I'm sure Shane and Glenn, you'll probably be aware of the Prime Orcs. From the Battle of Ulinar, War of the Beast. Ringing any bells?
Yeah.
The book that I've got of yours.
So War of the Beast, long story short for John, probably the only one who probably didn't know. The biggest sort of Orc War at that stage, 32nd millennium, and pretty much brought the Imperium to its knees and almost got to Terror itself. Actually, did sort of get to Terror itself. It was based off a planet which they're basically, obviously, the Orcs use attack asteroids, and then they basically turned Ulanor into an attack planet. And when the Imperium invaded, they had the Beast, who's an enormous orc, and then the Prime Orcs, who were 6 orcs that were the size of gargants that they ended up having to fight as well. And I think that they would be awesome characters to have. But I just think that just enormous orcs the size of gargants and just dressed in the way that they're sort of described in the... I've only sort of read the lore. I haven't actually read the books. But looking into it, like just enormous orcs that sort of look like statues because they're so huge. I think they'd be really great.
How do they get so big then? Is it just a case with the orcs of literally the longer they live, the more they fight and the more they war? They just keep getting continuously bigger and there's no limit sort of thing? Or
well, it's orcs, isn't it? So who knows?
Or they just believe they're that big and everyone else believes that big. Really, they're just like
all of a sudden, they're just bloody enormous. I don't know, but yeah.
But
So the beast
modern,
was...
I was going to say, because the modern day orcs are the descendants of the, and I always get this wrong, the, what was it, Crocs that we talked about before in the last pod. Yeah, and they were much bigger than the modern day orcs. And it's because the modern day orcs are so numerous and unable to live long enough to grow to their full potential. But that's why Gazkol's so big, because he keeps fighting.
Yeah, and I think that from reading the lore, I think that the Prime Orcs would make Gazkul look small, which is just amazing. I think because he's obviously a scary enough character in its own right, but if you've got Prime Orcs that can actually take on, because Vulcan ended up fighting the Beast in the lore, and actually, I think he actually died doing so by taking out the Beast. Sort of got obliterated. Obviously, he's a perpetual and came back. But to have an orc that can actually take on a Primarch is pretty cool in itself. So I think they'd be pretty cool characters to have. But I don't know where they would fit in the setting, because obviously it's the 32nd, so it wouldn't fit in with Horus Heresy. It wouldn't necessarily fit in with 40k because it was 8,000 years before. But
They could just be like a cool centerpiece.
just massive
model.
orcs just going around being dicks. So yeah, that's my
that's cool.
ones that I would like to see, the Prime Orcs.
yeah, they're pretty cool. I haven't actually looked into. I didn't even know about the Prime Orcs, to be honest. Never even really heard of them. So that's pretty cool.
On a side note, apparently I've heard rumours that the Orc players are going to get their Primaris version of Orcs in the Codex release.
I saw some people saying about that.
But I saw, like, I think it's more of a meme that someone said Primaris version of Orcs, rather than being called boys, should be called lads. So I was like, I'd be on board with that.
Orc lads.
It's strange, isn't it? Because in the new box sets you got, like the Orcs box set that I've got, because the Orcs have had an upgrade in size anyway, haven't they? Since the newer ones come out, they are bigger than the old Orcs used to be. So actually, I got out like the bases are bigger than the old ones and everything, and they're actually quite tall. They are actually the size of Primaris Marines. I'm assuming it's going to be a complete remodel of what they actually look like then in physique, rather than just their size when they do the Primaris ones or version of them. I'm not sure because they're quite big. The current ones I've got.
Yeah, I mean they might not. It's I think it's rumor more than anything. But you never know.
They're bound to do it eventually, aren't they? To get some more money pumped into them when they finish all the current run. If they're not already doing it, I'm sure they'll get bigger Orcs.
Well, I
was going
to say it's an interesting. I suppose it's an interesting question, really. Is it like who? Like, I think the majority of people will play Marines as one of their armies, or at least Imperium. So I suppose like who plays everyone else, and I guess the orcs must be up there to a degree in popularity.
Yeah.
So they must, they'll do something with them, right? They'll give them another update.
Yeah,
sure.
I imagine there's a lot of people who actually buy the orc box sets and then build one thing out of it and then just leave it forever.
That's unheard of.
Fucking bellend. You got a point, though. You've got a point. Yeah.
What about you, Glenn? What's your fantasy model?
Now, I'm getting a bit greedy because I don't want a individual model. I want an entire range. Because back in the day, they used to do models for Gaunt and a select few of the ghosts. I would like them to redo that because the old Gaunt model now is just shit. It's not aged well at all, along with the rest of them. I would love to see an additional plastic set of Imperial Guard because the ghosts are light armor. They've all got capes. They would be a very, very different looking option for the guard, and it'd just be nice to have the option to do like a scout Imperial Guard army. So I'd like to see a Gaunt's Ghosts range of Imperial Guard.
That would be cool, man. That's actually a really good shout.
Yeah, because like I haven't got the time to be making green stuff, capes and all that shit for an entire army of guardsmen. Not when you're dealing with like 5 points a model or 4 points a model or something like that. You're gonna have loads of the bastards. So yeah, plastic kit. That would be all nice, cloaked.
With their daggers as well. I mean, because they're quite well described, aren't they? Obviously, there's loads of books on them, so they could make them perfect.
Yeah, I mean, like there's so much background in them. There's a good description of everybody. You've got so many like specifically named characters in like the sort of your HQ choices and stuff like that. They could very easily do, even if it wasn't a full codex, like a little supplement codex. So some HQs, some elites, because you've got, you know, your snipers, you've got your scout specific people as well, and then you've just got your running your mill guys. So they could very, very easily get at least a small army out of that. And yeah, I would love to see some of the characters brought to life and just a general scout army for the guard.
I think it'd be cool for Imperial Guard in general to get quite a few new regiments sort of in plastic. Like Steel Legion, obviously they've got some stuff, but having a full range of all these sort of different regiments that are mentioned throughout, I think that'd be really cool. I think a lot of people would go for that as well, because at the moment you can only get sort of Cadian infantry and work like out from that, which is fine. But obviously in a lot of the books they're described in a lot of detail being quite different to that. So
see, that's why I looked at the Gaunt's Ghost side of stuff, because whilst all right, a different Marine, it's still a different bloke in power armor, or it's different bloke in Terminator armor. Whereas like the stuff in the guard books, I think you can get a lot more personalized with them, or even like the Trader Guard that's mentioned in the Ghosts books. They're described so massively as well. Like all of their vehicles are described, and they're completely different to anything that we have on tabletop at the minute. You know, you've got walking tanks and all that stuff, but not like a defiler, more sort of spider with a little body underneath. You know, there's so much stuff just in that series of books that would be amazing to see.
That'd be cool. So a bit more true to the law.
Yeah, a little bit.
I can't see why they wouldn't do that either, because obviously the books were really successful. I can't see people not buying them models if they put them out right.
Yeah, but it's been so long now. Like the series is over and done with, and has been for years now, and they never, other than like a small run of Gaunt and a few of the named characters in metal, which gives you a bit of an idea of how long ago it was. They've not even looked back into it, and they tend not to do an awful lot of stuff that's just Black Library characters. They tend not to get, especially not mainstream models, they don't tend to make it into codex and stuff like that. It tends to go the other way. It'll be a name character in a codex, we'll get a novel, not a bloke in a book, we'll get into the codex. So I think it's unlikely to happen now, especially since the series is over and done with.
There's always hope.
So just you, John.
Yeah.
What do you want to see?
So mine isn't.
Something stupid, probably.
Huh?
What?
Yeah. Basically, so mine's more of a sort of a set piece. So what I would really like to see,
Pirate Primarch.
A pirate Primarch. All I want is various sized pirate hats, cutlasses, and things that I can glue to everyone's models, and then pirate 40k. That's all I want. Really, no. I want a set piece. So what I want is a Lunar Wolves Horus prior to the Heresy, when he's maybe just after he's been given the title. And what I would like either side of him is the Mournful, so Loken, Abaddon, Aximand, and Torgadon, all in their Lunar Wolves finery. And maybe you could do it as sort of bookends, because when they released the Horus bookends, I was a bit disappointed that it's the same one either side. And I was hoping like you'd get a loyal and a traitor ones, just so they were different. So what I would like, maybe something on one side you have Lunar Wolves all in their finery, stood proud as the Mournful, and then on the other side, when it's all gone wrong, Horus, leader of Sons of Horus, with Abaddon and Aximand a bit dirtied up in darker power armor, and then you could have the floor a bit broken with Torgadon and Loken still wearing their Lunar Wolves colours, and it's a bit more dirt. Like the background could be for the loyal one, it's like Horus's court behind them, but then the other one is just like some broken scenery where clearly it's all gone wrong and they're against each other. I think something like that to paint up would be cool, because there isn't obviously you've got the only model that you can see. Obviously you've got Horus on the staircase, and then you've got Loken and Abaddon in a fight scene, but there isn't one of Aximand or Torgadon. I know they're only sort of in a couple of, like, Torgadon's only in a couple of books, and I haven't got that far to see what happens to everybody else. But yeah, they're a pretty big deal to kick off the Heresy. Like I think they had like the biggest impact of, especially if that's where you start. I think it's a shame that there isn't something like that. Just something cool to paint.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool, man. Before and after, definitely look wicked.
Yeah. I think
that's something that definitely could work as well, is having display pieces as well. I think Forge World seemed to do it a bit better, obviously, with the Heresy models, but having display pieces, because like obviously when Glenn mentioned Be'lakor earlier, like that just strikes me as a display piece rather than, obviously it can be used on tabletop, but they're such good sort of models that I think that display pieces really are something that they could go into a bit more.
Yeah. And I feel like with a display piece, like it's all well and good. Like it's good to paint your models up well and take them to a game, but you're going to get your greasy fingers on, and they're going to get sweaty or greasy if you don't look after them. You've got something that you're really proud of that you can have on display as well, and you do it well. Yeah, I think that's quite cool. Cool little idea.
Games Workshop is starting to go into the display set piece type model, because they've done a couple of them recently. One is the Silent King that Shane mentioned earlier, which it's a very weird looking thing to have on a battlefield. There's a lot going on in the one model, and the Sisters of Battle have a similar type thing. I can't remember what it's called, the Trivium or something like that. I can't remember what it is, but there's a lot of stuff on one base as like a big sort of centerpiece. Yeah, it's like I think it looks weird on a tabletop, but like as a display model, they do look very nice. And yeah, with you on that. I think it would be nice if they did some more. But yeah, I think Forge World is the way to go for a lot of display pieces, because they used to do Space Marine busts and everything like that,
Mm.
which they've sort of come away from doing that, unfortunately.
Cool. Has anybody got any others quickly? So before we go, I just want to touch on this because I think we'd be missing a trick if we didn't at least talk about it. And it's, I guess, putting us all on the spot. But obviously, it's Warhammer Fest 2021 this week. So this episode will be going out on the 3rd, which is day one. I don't know if any of you have seen the posters and stuff. So there'll be like obviously releases and stuff. So I think Monday the 3rd is Age of Sigmar. Tuesday, Warhammer 40k. Wednesday, Black Library. This Thursday is some box games. Friday, back to 40k. And then Saturday, the 8th, it just says it's a mystery. Just off the top of your heads, or if you've thought about it, anything that you think you're going to see or would like to see?
I'm hoping that mystery is going to be a proper announcement for all the animations.
Oh, that'd be good.
So obviously there's been sort of a couple of trailers released and a bit of sort of stuff around it, but I'm hoping that there's a lot more that comes from it, and hopefully some release dates, and I'm hoping for feature length, but I don't know how long they'll actually be. They seem to be investing a lot of stuff in it to advertise it the way they have.
Yeah.
But hopefully the mystery for me is going to be the animation.
At least a couple of trailers or something. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Now, I want to go a step further along that. I don't want like just a couple of trailers. I want them to go, there you go, Games Workshop, Netflix. This is all the animation we're going to do over the next sort of 5 years.
That'd be amazing.
You know, feed it out. Because, you know, it's a big enough company. I'm sure they could have their own little streaming service.
Yeah, man.
That would be cool.
Hey, we already subscribe to the Warhammer app and it's shit, so you know
But we still pay for it.
what's another $4.99 for
Yeah.
some animated stuff?
That'll be the
may or may not
mystery.
turn up.
They fixed the app.
Yeah.
They
That's a
haven't-
step too
they
far.
haven't fixed that.
That's not happening.
If anybody else's Plague Marines are broken on that app, honestly, it's doing my head in.
I every now and then I log in to look at the app and I go, can I add a Wolf Guard to my Blood Claw pack? No, it's still broken. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Back to Battle Scribe. That's how I'm dealing with it.
Yeah. I don't. Let's not talk about the app. Any more predictions or hopes for Warhammer Fest?
I'd like them because they keep teasing, you know, about how the world that was the fantasy Warhammer Fantasy Battles is potentially coming back, or something is happening there. And I don't know if that'll be part of Age of Sigmar, because a lot of the characters cross over. So like Nagash is still part of it, stuff like that. I'd be interested. Maybe that'll be the box game. Maybe there'll be something there with to do with Warhammer Fantasy Battles. I don't know, but I'm hoping something might come up in that regard.
Yeah.
Honest, that would be likely to be the big surprise thing, the mystery thing, because that's probably a bigger thing in Games Workshop's mind than the animation stuff, because it's a money maker, whereas the animation is just like, ooh, pretty. It's not going to make them loads of money.
I don't know. You put it on Netflix, and so people click on it because obviously it recommends stuff, and everyone binges stuff. Could pique some. It's going to pique a number of people's interest, isn't it?
That's the thing, is that it's got enough of a following now that people would pay for it.
We've all bought a magazine that doesn't fucking exist, so
A magazine that doesn't exist, an app that doesn't work. We've all got piles of shame everywhere.
models we can't paint.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Although going back to yours, Dave, hopefully we hear some more about this live action Eyes and Horn series, because I know it was in the works before the world stopped. So maybe
it's gone quiet though now, isn't it?
Yeah, hopefully they kick that back into gear, because that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm looking forward to is, I don't know if any of you have you guys watched this Warhammer Fest before or anything, because I'm not really too familiar with it. But I know there's a game coming out that I shared the link with, that Necromunda game.
Oh yeah,
it's already been released for I think it's the 30th of June. But I was hoping for maybe if they'll put out like an actual gameplay trailer, proper gameplay, you know, because that does look pretty cool. And it seems like they've actually done quite a lot of work on the characters in it as well. They're saying there's a lot of different side quests and things like that. Sounds like my sort of game.
Yeah.
So hopefully they'll put something out about that, maybe.
I think it's all going to be all over YouTube and Twitch on their main channel. So I think that's where all the announcements happen.
I've not looked into it. Is it you need to buy a digital ticket to get into an online thing, or are they literally just streaming stuff?
I don't know. I think I don't know. I'm
It
guessing.
looks
I saw something saying that it's going to be like live on Twitch and then on YouTube, but I mean that was just something I saw a couple of days ago.
I think a lot of it's streaming.
Yeah, I don't think they make you. I don't think they make you pay because the announcements are coming out.
We pay for an
Really?
Well, I mean, if you're paying for combat cards, you'll pay for bloody adverts, wouldn't you? That you're going to get anyway.
No, it's just obviously it's the first time they've had to do it as like a digital thing, whereas before it was an event to go to. It's a replacement for what used to be Games Day. So you used to have like all the Golden Demon painting and things like that, and all the display boards and stuff. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it works this time. And generally, you do see a lot of new shit that's sometimes quite far in advance as well. Like you probably see stuff like 40k stuff that they'll not give a date for, and you mightn't see it until maybe this time next year. You know, that's how far in advance that you might see some stuff. You might even see some stuff that never sees the light of day.
I think the fact they've got 2 days for 40k as well. Like,
Yeah.
as I said, I've just checked it. It does say that it's just you catch it live on Twitch.
Live on Twitch, yeah, that's right.
But otherwise, you can just So it doesn't look like you're gonna have to pay for it. But I think there'll be a lot of 40k stuff.
Yes, it's 2 days, isn't it? So perhaps it's an expansion of the Indomitus Crusade.
Possibly.
Maybe they'll drop. They might drop the next codex. That might be one of the things.
Yeah.
What are we waiting for again, codex-wise? That's been sort of touted
The one
as
that
possibly
the
coming
one
out.
that's being talked about is the Adeptus Mechanicus as the next one.
Right.
I think that's a guarantee, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think different people have had a look at that one.
There could also be potentially a Primarch. They keep teasing maybe
Could
a
you
Primarch.
imagine?
Maybe get the lion. The lion wakes up.
That'd be cool. Because they just released that new Sisters of Battle model. And I'm just reading something saying that could be the start of something that's going to be a theme for this week. Because obviously they were quite heavily featured in the trailers for Indominus, weren't they?
Yeah.
The Necron versus Space Marine and Sisters of Battle advert was really cool.
That was
So it might
in
be a follow-on.
the last White Dwarf as well. Was the what was it? The Sisters box. I can't remember. It was something in like Penance and Pain or something like that. They called it. I can't remember. That might be it.
It's going to be a pirate ship because they listen to the podcast.
He's onto something.
Yeah,
they were.
the forgotten
Stop everything.
Primarch.
Stop production.
If I'm not here next episode, it means I've been killed.
Blackbeard the pirate, one of the lost Primarchs.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Right, so we'll wrap it up, I think, for this week. If you have any of your own models that we haven't touched on that you'd like, any fantasy models that you'd like to see exist, drop us a comment below. Any predictions for Warhammer Fest as well. Obviously, by the time we record another episode, it will be over and done with, so we could see, well, hopefully next episode we'll talk about all of that. As always, we'll put some pictures up on Instagram about what we've talked about. So yeah, go follow us on Instagram. I'm Ceramite. Give us a Google. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and all the other social media stuff. And yeah, that is Tom's favourite Exterminatus. Awesome.
As always, we would like to thank you for listening to our Iron and Ceramite podcast. If you liked us, then you can also find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and any other good podcast services. Just remember, in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war.
When you got Primaris out there now. Yeah, that's me done, I think. That's all the ones I'd like. Any questions?
Oh, cool. Oh, so you went on to the ones that you'd like that don't exist as well?
Yeah, the
Amit.
Amit.
Oh, cool. I thought we were going to do that in a bit. But
Oh,
Yeah,
was we going to do?
I
Oh,
thought that too.
Yeah,
Oh,
I thought we was
yeah. Well, no, it's fine.
everything.
It's fine. It's fine. I thought we was going to do it in 2 bits just to break up. It's cool. You've railroaded through, so that's
Yeah.
cool.
Edit it. Use your editing skills to edit that afterwards.
Yeah, well, yeah, I can do.
All you have to do is at the end of your one, you just have to go Tom and then edit in what you said.
Yeah. All right, then we'll do that. So, all right. So who's going next then?
Hang on. Before anyone goes next, so are we railroading through or are we stopping?
No. Well, let's stop, and then
I'd
we'll
say
just
stop. Yeah.
we'll test my editing skills. So, yeah, when we get to that point, it's going to be really. It's going to be real. It's going to be a real cut because Tom's going to go da 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 da, and I'll go. And Dave, would you like to go next? And then when we get to the next bit, they're like, what about you, Tom? What would you like to exist? It'll be already be going. So
We just have to just edit him in last, and then
yeah.
that should work.
All right, we'll do that. Cool. Glenn, I had a look. Your Catchkin Scout with the rocket launcher. He's
I think
15.
what?
Your
No,
Scout
no.
with the rocket launcher, the one that's kneeling
No.
down.
The Space Marine Scout.
Oh, it's a
Not the
space
Catachan
Marine
Scout.
Ah, well, I googled the wrong thing. Then.
Yes. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, well,
Is that why you've been so silent, John? Just doing that and you've got it wrong?
no, I'm editing that out. Right. Anyway. Oh, well, I thought it was in your face. I was going to say he's only $15.99 on eBay, but you can fucking poke it now, mate. Oh.
Spend 16 quid on a model you don't want.
Yeah.
Thanks, John.
Oh, I thought I was going to, say like I found it for you, but all right.
It's
Clearly not.
probably not that difficult to find to buy. It was really difficult to find an actual picture of a painted one, is what I was after. Most of them are the painted plastic ones.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
Cool. Great explanation. It's not making it into the pod. Anyway, right. So, moving on. Unless anyone's got any others they want to bring up quickly. Cool.
Right,
so let's all take 30 seconds, and then Tom, you can say yeah, and then we'll all go, oh, that's really good, Tom.
Right, cool. Well, I can just go for it again if you want, because it's only the one character I've got just for
If you want to.
that'll help you with the editing. Okay.
You can do, mate. You can do.
Go on then. Introduce me again.
All right. Do you want to go first, Tom?
Yeah, no worries, mate. The ones I've gone for is Nasir Amit, who his nickname, he used to be in the Blood Angels 5th Company captain during the Heresy. His nickname was the Flesh Terror. And as you can probably imagine, he was the first chapter master of the Flesh Terrors after the Crusade. So he's a really cool character, Terminator armor, double chain fists. So he's pretty big bad. Fucking hell. Oh,
It's all right. It's all right.
he's a pretty big bad guy. No, whatever that means.
He was in the book.
Yeah, he's a badass character, really. Do you know what? Fuck it. Just go with the one I've already done. There we go.
Yeah, you did a good explanation of it before. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh,
Cool.
but let's all just go, oh, cool. Right. Now let's pause for 20 seconds. So when I cut it, I can do a nice page transition. Because it's really hard to do when we suddenly stop talking and go into it.
Can I make myself another drink first?
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, I'm going to put the kettle on, won't it?
I will do that as well.
And play combat cards.
And Pretend you haven't been playing it.
Honestly, I haven't been. Honestly, I got to Sector 4 of Fenris, and I was like, cool, right, let's get past this. Let's get past this now. And then I just kept winning a couple and then losing more, winning a couple, losing more, and I'll rage quit. And I keep going to go back to it. Like I keep opening the free packs, and then I just can't bring myself to play a game because I just look at it getting really pissed off that I'm going to lose.
That's where you got to run your multiple armies.
Yeah.
Just your free is causing you problems. That's where you keep losing points.
Yeah, because I just thought you just build up one army, but so what do you do? Just play a game, rotate through them?
Yeah, basically the way I do it is that I have my top 4, and then whatever army is in 5th is the army I'll play.
Right. Okay.
And then once that army gets enough points to get into the top 4, one of the top 4 will drop down, and then that will be the army I then next play.
Right. Okay.
And then, like Glenn, what he does is he takes it one army further, so he'll play whatever army is in number 6, and he'll play that up until it's in the top 4, and then whatever army was in 5th will drop down to 6, and they'll play that one until it's in the top 4. So it's what I've said before, like when we were on our walk the other day. It's like a game that's built for grinding. So as long as if you can deal with the grind, you'll get the points.
So when you go into say, when you click on you click on war, and then you go in and you click on edit deck, and then so they're there in order of what army's more powerful. Is that, or what warlord's more powerful?
No. So come out of that. Right. When you're on that opening screen, before it's got war. Yeah. Hold your screen up. You see just next to the button, you've got like a little icon on the on your. Yeah, that's it. Click that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I go into the menu.
So that's where you are. Yeah, hang on. Let me have a look at my one.
Or is it the icon? Oh no, that's not that.
I'll tell you where.
Click on your points total.
That's it. Yeah.
Click on the points total. Oh, right. So it says Space Marine, Chaos, Tower, Tyrannid.
Yeah. So they're your top 4. That will be what's creating your points total.
Right.
So under that, you'll then have 4 that are not listed.
Yeah. Servants of the Emperor, Necron, Orc, Eldari.
Yeah. So your next army, the one that you should be building up, is the one that's outside of that top 4.
Oh, okay.
Because then as soon as that gets into your top 4, that will score you points. And then one will drop down. That won't lose you points. And then you can build that one back up.
Right. Okay. So I just got to find a warlord that is a servant of the Emperor. Is that right?
Yeah, which will be like Yarrick or one of the what's it called? Sisters of Battle. She's one of them.
She's the best one.
Yeah, she is the best one. I agree.
I don't think I have her. I've got.
There's one of the
Adeptus
Mechanicus.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who's that? I've got all right. So I'll do. All right. Cool. All right. I'll tell you what. Cool. All right. That makes sense then. Cool. Yeah. Because I've just been using like the ones that I've been getting wins with and just ramming them. But obviously that's not what. Okay. Cool. Right. We'll see what happens. Dave, I'm coming for you.
Oh.